Welcome to No Life Digital. Today we're talking about Logan Paul versus KSI, the boxing match on August 25th. I was impressed at the performance of almost all of the fighters on the card. It was $10. I was a little bit reluctant to spend my money on it, but I said, you know what? I spend a lot more money on UFC. I spend a lot more money on boxing. I watch combat sports religiously. I haven't missed a UFC in the last 6 years. I watch combat sports all the time. I do not participate in combat sports. I'm not a boxer. I'm not a fighter. I train as such, but it's more recreational. I'm more of a fan of the sport. So one thing that I do know about boxing and UFC, just combat sports in general, is kind of deciding on who an overall winner is. There's a few things that you go off of. You go off of aggression, you go off of control, you go off of punches thrown, punches landed, power punches, damage done. There's a whole bunch of things that you kind of need to take into account when deciding upon who a winner is. And luckily, thanks to Artorias Boxing Second, the channel, we're going to take a look at who the actual winner is, because the majority draw decision, I feel, is warranted. As much as I didn't want to see a majority draw, it is really difficult. If you're a judge and you're sitting there ringside, it's really difficult to choose a winner from that fight. You would really have to sit down, spend a few minutes, and look at the tapes. So shout out to Artorias Boxing for the video. Just awesome that he was able to do this. We could immediately see the size difference. I mean, Logan Paul is a much bigger opponent. He's heavier. He's got a much longer reach. It's a very difficult fight for KSI. This is where he was dominant, utilizing the jab, keeping his distance, and he was actually really impressive at being able to know his distance, know where the power of his punches really end, and keep KSI in that range. Later on in the fight, though, he kind of wavered away from that. So this is round one, just an extremely dominant and impressive looking Logan. Now, right there, you can see how long his punches are. I mean, look at the amount of space. Just a large amount of space he's covering. Keeping his weight centered. It's not too far back. It's not too far forward. Really using his cross here to just add that little bit of sting, add that little bit of power. Kind of keep the distance with the jab and then follow through with this extremely long cross to hit him on that counter. It's just really nice looking. I mean, look at that. And right there, that's a beautiful combination thrown. Just real quick jab that stings him, another one, and then follows through on that long cross. Keeping his body sort of sideways to make him a much smaller target is also just it goes to show that he knows what he's doing. KSI looking extremely frustrated, doesn't know what to do. I'm sure his trainers do, though. Now, right here, okay, this is where we start to see Logan utilize his wrestling and just start to grapple in really, really impressive ways. Clinching is part of boxing. Now, you might not look like you're winning the fight if you clinch a lot, but it's extremely draining to get yourself out of a clinch. It's also a great way to neutralize combinations. Logan was really effective at that clinch, and that's mainly due to his wrestling background. I mean, look at that range. That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, you can see he's a little bit stretched out. There's not much power in that little jab there, but, he's still commanding the entire center of the ring. Now, I do want to show this little combination here because we see it a lot. It's the old 1-2 that KSI gives, but look at where he starts his punch. Ready? He starts it from way down here. He kind of just haymakers them, which is, not very effective. It's not very effective. It's easy to deflect. Boop. All you got to do is step back. Still a very dominant, smart, effective Logan Paul in the second round. Just frustrating KSI. All he needed to do was continue to do this for 4 more rounds, and he would have easily taken the victory. I mean, he looks a lot more like, whoa, a little late punch there. That would get you DQ'd. That would get you disqualified. That would get you kicked out of the ring. You cannot be doing that. That would immediately at least get a point taken off. So that little thing, the fact that it was a majority draw and that was in there, right there, he should have been DQ'd. He should have lost the fight. But this, they're not professionals. This is just for fun. So, they're gonna let it go on. This is where we start to see Logan sort of get a little bit tired, a little bit gassed. Excellent little combination there. Look at KSI just swinging for the fences. I mean, that right hook is just on point. It's an extremely effective throw, But because Logan is so good at keeping his distance, he just wasn't able to connect. I mean, look how just beautiful Logan's distance is. Wow. Awesome distance management. Here we go. We start to see KSI start to come rush Logan and just get inside a little bit more. Because essentially, when you're closer to Logan, he's not able to use his distance. All of his punching has half the power. It just doesn't have that snap at the end that you want. So what all KSI needed to do was just come a little closer. Take a little bit more hits to the body. Take a little bit more hits to the face because they're not going to do that much damage because they're at half mast. Come in and just start working. Start working that body. Start making him clinch a little bit more. Start making him think where you're going to go. Set him up for combinations. And that's what KSI really does towards the end of the fight. Very effective power punch. Now, the problem with just the CompuBox numbers is that they don't take into account power punches. This is a very effective power punch that does damage. That's worth at least 5-6 jabs. You know what I mean? So the fact that they're not counting power punches does a little bit. The numbers just don't always tell the story. You need to know the damage done, the power punches thrown and landed. They're more risky. They're difficult to pull off. So they count a little bit more than just a straight, jab. Again, another just overhand right. Very nice jabbing there. A little bit dirty boxing here. Kind of throws him down. He's getting frustrated. It takes a lot of energy to just toss a grown man on the ground. But that's all we saw out of that round. There was only 15 punches thrown or 15 punches landed on each side. But decidedly, there was a lot more power punches thrown by KSI. So in my opinion, he takes that round. He was the aggressor. He's the one commanding the fight. He's the one, making Logan fight on his terms. So that third round goes to KSI in my book. There he goes. Again, just kind of coming in, not letting Logan utilize. I mean, look at that throw over his jab. Over his jab, he slips that punch. I don't know if you can see because that stupid ref's in the way. But he slips the punch and throws his overhand right over his jab, which is really nice. I mean, just nicely done. And connects. Boop. Comes in. Look how close he is. Look how close he is compared to where he was last fight, where he was just extremely on the outside trying to fight, that McGregor-Mayweather style. He can't against Logan Paul because he just doesn't have the range. But when we bring it in closer, or we bring it in later, and he brings it in closer, he's a lot more effective. I mean, he's right on his ass right here. All right, so the fourth round ends decidedly in KSI. It's now 2-2, right? Again, he's the aggressor. He's throwing power punches. He's commanding the fight. It's 2-2 now, right? So it goes down to the last 2 rounds. We're in the 5th round. Logan with a nice little flurry. What did that say? He does. Ooh, nice stick to the body. Comes in with a little 1-1-2, clinches up. KSI just has a lot more energy, just a lot better of a chin as well. I mean, the punches that Logan throws, it just really doesn't affect him that much. So we can see he's up in the cards. He's doing a lot of jabbing. He's doing a lot of 1-2s, a lot of combos. Here we go. We maybe start to see. You can tell his feet are just way planted. He's fighting very heavy-footed. There you go. There's a couple power punches, a couple of hooks. Oh my God, that was a vicious hit that kind of really stunned him. See, it's worth a lot more than just a couple of jabs, a couple of 1-2s. Very, very close 5th round. It could honestly go either way. It could go either way on that round. KSI just coming in swinging. Again, oh man, power punches. Damage done, effective use of the ring, just commanding the fight, making Logan fight what KSI wants to fight. Logan is just wobbly the entire round. I don't know if it's due to exhaustion. Just an extremely effective left hook there. Let's see that again. Oh my God! I mean, this is easily KSI's round. Easily KSI's round. After the bell, that's okay. It's just a little stick. Again, if that was compounded with the first after the bell fight, he should be DQ'd. He should have lost, but it's not pro. Okay, so what we have is essentially 2-2 going into the 5th. The 5th round looking like it could go either way, but then the 6th round easily being KSI. Easily being KSI. So in my opinion, KSI should have won this fight. In my opinion, just based on being able to play the tapes back, slow them down, really analyze the footage, it looks like KSI is the winner of this fight. The first 2 rounds were decidedly Logan, but he didn't do much damage. that damage did not sustain, as you can see with the later rounds. Going into the third round, we see a dominant KSI. We see someone who can understand where Logan's throwing, you neutralizing his range. The fourth round, KSI extremely dominant, really starting to work Logan, make Logan just exhausted, keep his hands down, not be able to dip and move the way that he was in the first couple of rounds. Again, 2-2. Going into the fifth round, it's rough because Logan does have the aggression, but KSI does way more damage. At least it looks that way. I mean, that punch right there, just knocking the wind out of him. Coming in right here with the left hook, or the overhand right, just wobbling him. When you wobble someone like that, that's worth a lot of points. That fifth round's a draw. We can call that fifth round a draw. Going into the sixth, it's easy to see that KSI is easily the aggressor, easily the better fighter in the sixth round. Just basically does to Logan what Logan did in the first round, except he has done way more damage. But I think it's 3-2. If we take the fifth round out of it, it's 3-2. It's 3-2. KSI. Overall, I'm excited. I think a majority draw was a little bit, we saw that KSI took one judge, and I agree with that judge. Where the other two were like, hey, maybe because of the aggression, because of the dominance of the first rounds, you can't. Or maybe they gave Logan third or the fifth round. And then it was 3-3, and then that's the draw. There's no bias here. I don't hate Logan Paul. I don't really care for him too much. I don't care for his content too much. But I don't hate him. And I was really impressed at the way he was boxing. If he would he gets that white boy sort of cornbread rage going on where you get hit a couple times and that fire inside lights up, and then he's planting his feet in front of him. He's squaring up. I mean, look at the way he was standing in the earlier rounds, where just really angular, boxing really nicely, and then now look at him. Look at him standing in front of KSI, feet planted, squared up. He's a much bigger target. He's slower. He's not thinking right, and it's because he's got that cornbread rage inside of him that you kind of just want to slug and take the dude's head off. But KSI's a smarter boxer. He's been in this position before, and he was able to piece him up. Overall, it was fun. I can't wait to see the next one that's in the U.S. Is it rigged? I don't think so. I don't think you can watch this and say it was rigged. Maybe the judging was rigged. Maybe someone was like, hey, just say it's a draw. Let's get it going in the second one. It's just too perfect. But nonetheless, I had a good time. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe. And also, don't forget to follow us over on No Life Digital on Twitter. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.